Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together. Hey, amazing leaders, amazing high achievers. We are so excited to bring you every week the things that are going to help elevate your life through the neuroscience lens. And Alex and I really want to talk about some of the practical steps that you can take that you may not even have thought of as being a practical step, right? And sometimes what we think of, and especially the way our brains default, is going to the how. How do I do this? How do I accomplish this? And it's one of the reasons that she and I do the work we do, where we give you a framework, a process that's measurable and tangible, so you can see results in rewiring your system, right? And it is the brain. It starts with our thoughts, but it's also the body and our energy and spirit. So it's a mind, body, spirit system that we're reprogramming to remove limiting beliefs and get into success beliefs. And the exciting part of what we're really going to talk to you about today is where to put the practical at, and maybe reframing what the practical looks like, and, being able to get to what's keeping you stuck and spinning along the path. So, Alex, let's dive in.
Yeah, I love when we were chatting earlier, we were talking about, it makes a little reference to one of the episodes we also recorded recently, talking about commanding your wealth, right? So whether it's commanding your wealth or leaning into your vision or your health, relationships, whatever it be, there's usually something that's on our heart that we want to maybe spend a little bit more time with. So we talked about, this me time, right? Usually it's pretty easy to find 10 to 15 minutes a day to create this me time. And again, what could this me time look like? Well, it's going to be a matter of what's important to you in that moment, and then using that time to really focus in on wealth, health, relationships. I mean, maybe it is the time that even if it's just your brain prime, to be able to listen to your brain prime, your vision prime, right? But I think what's really important is, well, there's two things, right? Obviously, we want to know ahead of time, right? Decide in advance how we're going to use that me time to move vision, to move what's important forward to you. The second thing is that identity that we speak into, and taking actions in that moment that's moving you towards the thing that you really want. We've mentioned multiple times in the podcast where we talk about be, do, have. And we oftentimes want to start with the doing. We want to do all the things, right? We can do the do all day long, but unless it's coming from that identity, from a belief system of where we're headed, we might feel like, oh, but I'm doing all the thing and I'm not seeing the results.
Staying in the spin, yeah.
Yeah. And the reason why is because you don't have your subconscious aligned with where you're headed, and you start to experience the cognitive dissonance. So we wanted to remind you that, as though we are going to share more practical things that you can, yes, do implement into place, to be mindful of what place are you coming into this from. So I'm going to give an example with regards to, the wealth, because I know I asked Carol, I'm like, I really want to share some practical ways to use your 15-minute me time to grow and build your wealth. Is that if you have a belief that you're irresponsible with wealth, you can take action steps that maybe responsible people would use, but because you continually have this belief that I'm not responsible, you can do that all day long but you still have the subconscious belief
Yeah,
that you're not responsible.
you're going
You've
to
got to,
continue to,
yeah.
yeah,
So you've got to tackle, you've got to unprogram the brain. You got to reverse engineer that no longer are you irresponsible. No, you are responsible, right? And you're thriving. And you, so we want to reiterate, this is, we're not going to miss or skip a step. If you
yeah.
miss or skip a step, you'll get short-term results, but we are not here to help you get short-term results. We're here to help you get long-term results. So we kind of, it's sort of like that, the warning, right? Like warning as you're listening to this episode. Remember, we cannot skip the first step, which is to rewire the subconscious and the beliefs. You've got to tackle that first. And some of the things today actually will support you with maybe getting clear with, well, what are some of this what are some of my subconscious dialogue going on, right? And then it allows you to follow up as the next step once you've started the brain priming, the rewiring, to then take committed action as again examples of as someone who's responsible with money,
Yeah.
to take action steps daily towards that, right? So again, we're always helping you remember, right? Like we're not here to skip steps. We're here to talk about the importance of priming with your identity first, and then look at, okay, these action steps are in line with the vision I want, the result that I want.
It's so important to lay that foundation, right? That's the rock that we're building on. Anytime you're building a building, you want a firm foundation. If you go and look at any kind of architecture around the world, it starts with being built on something that's going to be solid and that's going to last. And this is what we want to do in our lives as well, which you're speaking directly into, Alex. And it's important that we do frame how this happens. So, not skipping any steps, also staying in the step you're in. So when we're talking about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes a day of me time, and talking about it from a practical standpoint, thinking about what can I accomplish in that 10 to 15 minutes. There's tremendous breakthrough that can be accomplished in 10 to 15 minutes. I can get on a call with you. Alex can get on a call with you for no more than 15 minutes, and we can see you have a breakthrough. Done it multiple times. And it's really important that you know how valuable this me time is for you, and that it doesn't have to be a long time, doesn't need to take, multiple hours. Some of us have very intentional, specific morning time. I do that. I'm at a place in my life where I'm able to do that. If you have youngsters around that you're getting ready for school, or, I've had my grandbaby with me recently, one of them. It doesn't always look like this specific amount of time that you may desire for certain aspects of your life. What is important is to take those 10 to 15 minutes and really squeeze the life out of them, squeeze the life from them, not out of them, but from them, and know how powerful and how important this time is. And talking about the cognitive dissonance that happens when we are wanting a goal and we've got a subconscious over here with buried beliefs that are keeping us from this goal, keeping us in the spin. And also, we have a negativity bias where we tend to look at 90% of 100% of things negatively, right? And especially about ourselves. And we hear the center critic, and we have self-doubt and self-sabotage and all the things that come in that keep us doing a lot of activity but spinning in it. And so we're talking about being able to take time to set aside, put the first step first, and do what needs to be done. So, first and foremost, I think it's really important that we understand that when you take 15 minutes of your life to sit still and not do anything else. Sit still, listen to your intuition, connect with your breathing, connect with your heart, get out of the thoughts and the inner critic that this is a lot of times where we don't realize that this is an important activity. It's an action that we're doing, even though it's sitting still. And the important thing about being able to do this is when you are taking that time and making this connection with yourself, your inner critic will reveal itself. It will come up. And a
Mhm.
lot of people who meditate talk about this. We teach priming, and when you're priming, that inner critic can come up and it can almost drown out your prime if you're not very intentional. So capture that, capture it, capture it, capture it. Journal those automated negative thoughts, ants, that limiting beliefs that come up. And the reason we want to do this first step foundational is because this is bringing it from operating back in that subconscious system up
Mhm.
to your conscious mind, your prefrontal cortex, where we can then take the actions which I teach in my program, and Alex, you teach in your coaching to remove, to neutralize, erase, and synaptic prune, remove these negative beliefs, replace them with the success beliefs that we want to be in. So 10 to 15 minutes of doing nothing but sitting still is very powerful. Now, we've
Mhm.
talked a lot on here about Pearson's law as well. What you measure grows, what you measure and report grows exponentially. And, many of us have been in a place where we avoid our numbers, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's easy to do because there's a thought circulating back there about, oh, if I take a look, I'm going to have to face a reality I don't want to face. But the truth of it is, it's such an amazing principle when we start to sit still and take a look. What we measure grows, and there's multiple examples of this, multiple. It doesn't just have to do with numbers either. It can literally be measuring any aspect of your life. It can be
Mhm.
measuring the amount of hours of sleep you're getting, the whether you're hydrating like you want to, how many steps are you getting in, what are your views on your social media. It really can be any aspect of your life that this principle applies to. And it's really important when you start to realize these ways that you can take 15 minutes and make it exponential for you. Yeah.
Well, and in those moments too, like with even like going back to, okay, sitting still, for example, can get a lot of information. Your next 15 minutes could be perhaps implementing something or taking action, or I always find it very powerful to have a journal sitting beside me so I can actually write down the ideas. But a lot of times you get sort of like insights and downloads in that space, right? And so again, you're sitting still, but as Carol was saying, like there's a lot of intuition that can come there. When you're getting intimate with your numbers, perhaps notice, hey, I've got a subscription that I'm no longer using. And your next 15-minute me time could be, I'm going to cancel that subscription, right? So
Yeah.
continue to move the needle forward. Another opportunity, and it kind of combines sitting and being still, but also in measuring, is just gratitude, right?
Mm.
Just implementing, in your me time, just really sitting and being still with what are you grateful for. And it could be grateful for, and again, I know me personally, like I've done these are like shifts that I've had in the last little while. It's
Yeah.
because I know that I'm someone who has a tendency to want to do like all the things, but I'm really honing in and focusing on like one thing.
Mm.
Um, and I think that's been a big shift for me in the last little while, is just really honing in on one thing. And so, for example, if say the focus is health,
Yeah.
right? Looking at what you're grateful for with your health, if it's looking at the number, as Carol was suggesting, it could be, okay, I'm going to look at my step count. I'm going to look at my sleep score. I'm going to be grateful for the health. And I might declare something that I want to commit to regarding health, right? And then setting that in that intention
Mm,
and deciding in advance regarding that, right? And so, there's a, and same thing with numbers, if it's the wealth piece. I think when it comes to the me time, it's really looking at either an area of your life or
yeah.
maybe a few areas of your life that you really want to focus on, right? Because of course, what we focus on grows. And so when we immerse ourselves, was in Carol's community earlier today, and I was talking a lot about this immersion piece. And that's where we see this meantime of it being an opportunity to immerse yourself. Because when we immerse ourselves daily into the being, into those actions, to stay consciously aware, right? Because we consciously get to make effort to move the needle forward on things that are important to us. We now dedicate this me time to these things. And so it can even be listening, those 50 minutes of reading, right? Like I'm thinking relationships, right? Reading a relationship book or listening to the audio book. How I love the activity I talked about, Carol, last week about, and it's kind of like the gratitude, but keeping track
Yeah.
of, wealth building, right? Like we're looking for ways that one, we can show evidence of the growth in the thing that we wanting to focus on and expansion in that, but also, right, we're showing our brain our evidence, which is really important. We
Yeah.
also activate the particular activating system because we're focusing in on that. And then we see more of that, which, as Carol was saying, with the negativity bias, we want to stay focused on the thing that we want more of, right?
Yeah.
And this is another, I think, reason why we love talking about this me time, because it really supports with continuing to stay focused and not allowing, right, our subconscious and all the negative bias, society, all the things like bringing us back over here to our current reality. We want to stay focused on where we're going with that piece.
And it reminds me of one more piece, like the gratitude, the meditation, um, celebrating is one of the tools
Yeah.
we teach. And celebrating is very important. We won't go into detail here at this time, but spending literally 10 to 15 minutes of doing nothing else but celebrating yourself,
Yeah.
celebrating not just your accomplishments, but who you are, because we really do a lot of identity work and, celebrating that you're worthy, celebrating that you have intentionality, you are able to decide in advance, celebrating your gratitude, celebrating your measuring and reporting, celebrating your ability to sit still and quiet, and also bringing up that you can trust and surrender through this process, which this is really about, bottom line, getting more intimate with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And intimacy with yourself is the first principle of wealth. Your relationship with money is a reflection of your relationship with yourself. Frankly, intimacy with yourself is foundation for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Not just wealth, that's just one aspect. It's the foundation for health. And we talk a lot about being, a lot about identity, a lot about, the trust and surrender to who we are. But these are some very intentional and practical ways that we can take this time, doesn't have to be a lot of time, and use it for exponential benefit. And it is exponential. It does also compound, which means when we do this consistently, the universe loves consistency and rewards it. Then this is again where it starts to compound. Well, what's compounding? It's where things stack on one another, but they don't just stack like one apple, two apple, three apple. They do for a while, but then all of a sudden it goes one apple, 100 apples.
But 1, 2, 4, 8,
Yeah,
16, like that whole process.
yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
even, I mean, I'm just thinking like going back to even like the beginning, because it depends on where you are in your journey. I mean, even just to be able to like gift yourself that me time, that
Yeah,
might even be just be where it starts, right? Is
right.
that you are carving out and dedicating, especially if you're so much on the go, 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 just
Yeah,
starting with that 10 or 15 minutes, that in itself is the win. That in itself becomes a gratitude. That in itself becomes something that you're going to measure because you're going to see, okay, I did one, and okay, I like challenges, right? Because I like challenges, and I
thrive on
find,
that. Yeah,
yeah, I do thrive off that, right? But part of why I do it is to get out of my comfort zone.
yeah,
And I do it because it actually gives you something measurable, right?
right.
So I've been doing, 80 days, 80 days of walks on the beach. I chose that because one, we know that we've got to do something for like at least 3 months or so, like
Yeah,
at least past 67 days for it to become automatic. Two, it gave me something to measure
yeah.
because of the concept of what we measure, what we measure and report goes
Oh,
exponentially. I wanted to have something to measure like that I could share. And something that I started, is like I would collect a shell for every walk I did. So I could visually see all the walks that I did
I
based on the amount
love
of
that.
shells that I did,
Huh.
or like I mark it down in my calendar because there's measurement, there's a reward, there's the dopamine hit. So okay, that is why I love challenges. Right now, I've given myself a new 30-day challenge, but it's fun, right? Me personally, because that's what drives me. Not everybody is like me, but I like the little challenges because sometimes it's the challenge when we can commit, whether it be 7 days or 14 days or 21 days or
Yeah,
80 days, whatever it is. The point is, you're making a commitment, you're
yeah,
making it fun, you're making it measurable, right? You can track it and
yeah,
you get to see progress and growth. And
yeah.
so, where I want to go with this is like, I invite you to set a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to commit to, 5 days of me time, or again, I could probably suggest like at least do 6 to 7 days, like minimum 6 to 7 days, right?
Yeah.
Right of the me time to build the muscle. Because when you make that commitment,
Yeah.
really the excuses are going to come up. When you can stick to your commitment and communicate, that's really important, especially if you've got kids and family. When you say, I'm committing to this 14-day me challenge,
Yeah.
you can enroll support so that you can create that. You commit to the challenge, you put it in your calendar, and it's like, okay, what's it going to look like?
Yeah.
I'm going to do my beach walks every day after I drop my kid off in daycare. Like you figure out now what it looks like, because you want to set yourself up for success, for the win. And that's what we want to drive home here about. It's not just about the
Yeah.
strategy and the tactic. It's like, again, being that person to set yourself up to win, to implement whatever it may be. So it may just be committing to the me time. It may be, I'm going to commit to 7 days of logging into my bank and getting intimate with my results, and maybe making some decisions around ways that I are like places that I'm spending money that I no longer need. Maybe it's 7 days of gratitude. Like the invitation
7 days
really,
of
I feel, is
celebration, 7 days of
is
visioning,
yeah,
7 days of, connecting
walking.
with your heart
Yeah.
and listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silence, right? 7 days that quiet time, 7 days of connection,
And for
7 days of
me,
networking. Yeah.
just to pause for a second, that I am a projector in human design. And so what motivates me, the type of challenge that motivates me in this is I run 4 businesses. I'm a high achiever. My calendar stays full. I get 15 minutes of rest, right?
Mm-hmm. Woo! Yes.
So,
Yes.
whatever
Exactly.
it looks like for you, right? So, yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you get to connect with yourself and see again where your vision is, what's important for you, where you're at. And I think the last thing I want to lean into and just revisit what you're saying
yeah,
earlier, Carol, because I want to point in that this may appear when you're doing the thing that you're doing, or even thinking about how do I want to spend my me time, or committing to the me time,
yeah,
is to pay attention to the internal dialogue.
yes, yeah,
There is so much insight, whether
yeah,
you choose to be still, whether you choose to be active, whether you choose to rest. There's so much internal dialogue. There's so much insight that we can get. It's another reason why I like challenges too, because you're not going to avoid it. You're going to lean into the resistance, that to get curious about what is going on internally when I commit to, say, 14 days of rest for 15 minutes. Like what's the beliefs that are coming up? Because there's a lot of information. And if you are going to grow your wealth, or you're looking at wanting to slow down, or you want to build relationships, or you want to grow your business, right? And this is why we love, and this is something that Carol and I are always really committed to, is our, 10 to 15 minutes, or even, a little bit more as we get used to this practice, is that we get so much information downloaded. Yes. We get so much insight into our brain that this time for us becomes a priority, because it gives us so much insight into what's blocking us and holding us back from that next level.
So true. So true. So we hope now that you're able to see the power of 10 to 15 minutes, all of the good that can come from this. And you can vary it. Consistency is such an important step, but in your consistency, you can also provide variety, just, as long as you're intentional about what that variety is and you're not skipping around in distraction. It really can be about staying in the step you're in and bringing in the power that is available to you. So we're super excited to share all this with you.
Stop having awkward small talks that kills connection. The solution is knowing how to ask powerful questions. I have a free guide for you that walks you through how to ask wonderful questions that people want to answer, that people are going to be like, that's a great question. I have to think about this. And it's all in my powerful free guide for you. These are going to be questions that you can ask other people, but also questions that you can ask yourself to go deeper into your own self-awareness. Get the free guide.
I know we're wrapping up right now. Thank you for tuning in, for hearing us. We are, like, our hearts believe in you. We see you. We know that you are unleashed and unstoppable. And we're excited to bring these tools to you to see this go exponential for you.
Say, don't forget, you are able to text us as well. So if you are on Apple, I believe even Spotify, it says like message us, click that button, send us a message, let us know after listening to this episode, like what choice have you made? Are you leaning into this me time, and what do you want to focus on in that me time? We've, in our show notes, we've got, I got my top productivity neuro hacks. Carol's got her wealth activation. She's got her a fantabulous, amazing VP program. And of course, I'm here with Peak Web Agency to be able to help you really amplify your visibility and attract more of your ideal clients. We have our web audits, and that's talk about a first step, right? And is getting that insight, looking under the cover of your website to help you increase your visibility and attract more of your ideal clients. So we have lots of resources available to you, and we're here for you. So we want to remind you, if there's a topic that you really want us to lean into, I know that we've received a couple of messages lately. We are here for you. And we know that you weren't here to play small. You're here to play big. And we want to be able to support you in creating that vision, whatever it may be, and getting, using the beautiful brain that you have been gifted with to help you create that vision and not be held back from, obviously, your subconscious mind and limiting beliefs. So we want to thank you. It's actually, we're recording this as we head into Canadian Thanksgiving. So I'm in a place of gratitude. I'm grateful for you, the listener, the audience, the high achieving leader, of course, Carol, my podcast co-host. And, we are both here. We're mission, vision driven women that are here to stand for the vision that you want to create. And we are not here where we are today. They're in Panama. Carol's in Florida at the moment, and just all the amazing things she's doing with all her businesses. We wouldn't be where we are today without the work that we do. And that's why we're here standing for you. So Thank you for listening and tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable
Give us a
podcast.
review. We love
Yes.
reviews. Your reviews help increase the visibility for the show so that
Yeah.
we can reach even more of you with more information. And again, share with us what you like to hear about, what you want to go deep on. We're here for you and we love doing this. Thank you, Alex. Ciao for now.
We'll see you next Thursday, everybody. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.